Hello, welcome to Flory Models Live Reviews. This is something a little bit different. I'm going to review a kit that I haven't even looked at and I know very little about live, so you get a sort of unedited, raw feel to it. So that way you get my impressions straight away, so to speak. So what we got down here is a brand new kit that I haven't even heard before. It's A&A Models. Nope, never heard of them. Okay, it's 1/72nd scale, and this is the Mirage IV A, which is the nuclear strike bomber. It says on here that it's actually got a span of 16.5 centimetres and it's got a length of 32 centimetres. It's 130 parts in the kit. Okay, so it's no slouch, it's quite a large lump. So if we look down on the overhead down in here, we can see we've got some nice digital box art on here. It says usual thing, got a little bit of photo etch down on here. Kit number for this one is 7204. Like I said, I haven't actually heard these before, so a little bit different. Colour options, you've got the sort of standard camo, but we do have a nice metal finish one up here as well. All right, so running around on the box, you can see it's around about 24 quid. It is available from the PM store if you're looking for it. There's the other version as well, which is the P. This is the A or the P version, and down there as well. On like that, and on the back it's just a plain cardboard box. In the box itself, we have a bag, which actually good stuffed bag, gives you an idea. It's actually not a small bomber, this, if you're thinking this is a small 72nd scale kit. No, it's not. All right, cardboard box. Down on your instructions down in here, we can see you've got various tree call-outs down here. You've got your decals down on here like this, and straight into it all. So we've got colour call-outs using Humbrol, quite old school, I must admit, but we have them down in there. Then into the usual thing. So we've got the seats going down in there. We've got a little bit of photo etch, various parts making up some details for harnessing, etc. on here. Okay, for the seat. Some bulkheads going in there as well. So we've got forward and rear bulkheads for those being fitted in here, as we can see down in here. Side, and then we're guessing the styles here are indicating that it's going to be decals making up all of the various things down on for the instrument panels, side consoles, side walls, things like that. All right, that's in there. Then we've actually got down in the nose system, so we've got a couple of cameras going for the nose down in here, as we can see. And then we've got intakes. That there, what is that there? That's a bit weird. That's a big circle part that's going to go in the middle, which is a little bit weird. Down on here we got for the actual tails being fitted in there, as you might imagine, got a little vane for the inside pointing out of those, and then we've got wheel wells, so we've got, looks like a bit of depth to your wheel wells down in here. We've got the reconnaissance pod going down underneath as well. Okay, and then obviously we've got the fuel tanks and I assume a bomb for the underside. Okay, then down in here we've got full length, which is quite nice, exhausts going down there to the actual afterburner rings, and then the nozzles down here at the rear, and then separate tops, obviously open and closed dive brakes being fitted down onto the wings and then coming up to the bottom, and obviously tail being fitted, so forth and so on, and all the cockpit parts. Then we're over to the gear, so it's a multiple part gear going through there, wheels on there straight forward. Looks like a little bit of photo etch as well, which is quite nice. Probably the chaff and flare dispensers. I think I made a new one there. Okay, and then obviously we've got these down here. So we've actually got fuel tanks, looks like a fuel, the recce pod being fitted underneath, and then down in here we've got angles here, 60 degrees pointing out for what you're going to want to show for the dive brakes or the speed brakes being fitted down in there. Beautiful markings down in there, I have to say. Although I do like the camo, there's something about having it in the greys and the silvers down in this one. So the French markings on there looking absolutely beautiful. Okay, and we've got these down as well. So various ones. This was one is in the Museum of Air and Space in Paris, 2014. It's obviously kept down in there. And then one on the back here, we've got another one here. I do believe there's one in the UK. That is that big circle. Not sure. New one on me, I must admit. As I say, not up on the aircraft, don't know it at all. All right, but into the good stuff, and I'm wondering where the decals are, as I haven't seen decals yet, and unless they're in here, I'm yet to see some. Oh no, they're in here, I can see them. I'm doing a little bit worried, getting ahead of myself. Okay, so as I said before, haven't seen this company at all. I don't know what we're expecting here. So we have got the decals. Okay, we've got a little bit of photo etch as well, which is a very nice touch. Okay, so onto the clear parts, we can see, photo etch parts. You can see we've got the harnesses. Things. I think they're somewhat, and I can't work out if they're supposed to be coloured or they're just bad or it's just release agent or something down in here, but needless to say they're not you know, anything particularly special. But they are very, very nicely done. Some very nice details on them. Okay, we've got decals themselves, which don't look amazing. They look very old school, but actually, when you look at them, they don't look too bad. They seem to be in register. They seem to be centered, and various things. The walkways, it looks like you've got quite a lot of carrier film on these, but generally, I don't think it's too bad at all. The little things, you've got Tippexed out various bits of information down in here as well. I like the way they've done that. Okay, but anyway, there's your instrument panels. Again, at this scale, you're not going to see much at all. But generally, trying to catch it in the light here. There we go. You can see there's a little bit of carrier film. It's quite flat, so that's not too much of a problem. Whilst we've got it here, we will do the clear bits. So, not the best, shall we say. These look a little bit sketchy, very, very rough. It's going to need dipping, and I know we're into 72nd realm, but yeah, that's a little bit of flash on this plate underneath. The front screen, again, it's extremely thick, chunky. You know, let's face it, it's going to need dipping. Best case scenario is it'll be half decent. Okay, I can't imagine it's going to be crystal clear, but it is all there. All right. Okay, down into the parts themselves. Okay, so if we go out just a little bit. So as you can see on these, this doesn't look too bad at all. It's recessed details. It's a little bit chunky monkey, shall we say, and a little bit, it's not the nicest. To be honest, it looks a little bit like my rescribing. They're not squared. I don't know. It's just if we just come in a little bit closer, you can probably see catching it in here. These little guys here are a little bit all over the place, and they're not the nicest ones, shall we say. And again, when you're running your finger down here, I've got raised bits, I've got lumps, bits sticking all over it, and everything else. It has got all the, you can see them in here, all the panels and all the details. So it's going to take a wash quite well, but I'm sure you're going to have to, again, it's not lending itself particularly well to showing on here. Maybe you can see it just there. We're looking at this panel lining. It's not clean. It's like it all needs to be quickly rescribed out and retaken care of. These guys here, I don't know if you can see it, but down on this top ones, you might be able to see these are actually raised bits of flash coming out of the panel lines, which is never a good sign. Okay, I can't really see any sink marks, and we've got a bit of flash around, but this is simple cleanup stuff, really. But yeah, it's a little bit organic, shall we say. It's not the finest details, but it's got plenty of surface detail down in here of these panel lines. It's just they're going to need a little bit of cleaning out, I think, to make them half decent. Wing sections themselves, so pretty much devoid of any riveting detail that you might expect to find, but all the panel lines are in here and they all recessed. Moulded flaperons on the back here, a little bit of sink marks in them as well, if we're honest. So we've got a sink mark down in here, and that's because of these two are causing two sink marks down in there. So yeah, that's those. Again, not horrendous, but they are there just to be aware of, and in this scale things are going to show. We've got a little bit of raised rivet detail down the side of these fuel tanks, hopefully you can see. So actually that's not too bad. It's halfway there, it's just, yeah. Match pair for those, exactly the same problems. This one, to be honest, got a little bit worse sink mark. You can see it quite clearly down in there as well, so that's going to need a little bit of work. Some of these other parts on here, yeah, icky. It's going to need a bit of tidying up and sorting out. Again, same story down underneath here. It's a little bit organic. We got various bits of flash and scrap and things like that down in here. The machine tooling marks I can see through here. I don't know, it's just the mould hasn't been polished very well. You can probably see the machine marks from the tooling when it's running around in here. But again, they're not clean. None of these panel lines are clean and riveting. And again, like this one down in here, it's half a job done on it, various things like that. It's not the nicest, shall we say. And what's weird is there seems to be riveting detail here, and then it just sort of fades off. You can see we've got riveting detail running around this guy, but it's not on this one. It's like somebody started doing it and then they're like, no, I don't think I'll bother. Probably a bit too much. And again, you can probably tell by the state of it in here, it's quite lumpy bumpy. Everything else. I think what it would be with this particular one is to get in there, clean all this up first, rescribe it, and then go. start putting it together. Again, down the back here, it's just a little bit of sloppiness, tooling, moulding, various things down in there. It's a little bit rough. Generally, we've got a big sink mark down in there. That's not the nicest ever. Okay, this front one as well is pretty much got both of them. This front end, obviously, I presume this is the reconnaissance bird versus the nuclear stripe. Perhaps it's the P, which is the nuclear stripe version. But again, it's just all, you know, we've got the front nose system here, and it's got a big sink mark in it as well. It's just going to be a pain to try and clean that up and sort that out. Plenty of detail though, because down in here, as we can see, we've got various areas down in here for the actual wheel wells, all the different things. Down on this, you can probably see just like that. That's not too bad at all, really. Again, because of its scale, you can somewhat forgive it. Okay, nozzles, yeah, you probably see it looks like we've got bits missing from it. It's going to need a little bit of work and tidying up, but then it's got nice details, like down in here we've got the afterburner ring mounted to the last stage of the engine itself, and some very nice details down in there again. And again, the wheels, I don't know, is it me, but they don't look round, maybe. Not the nicest. And then again, you get surprised because we've got beautiful detail down here in the actual exhaust nozzles themselves, because we don't have an ejector pin in it. So if one hand you're sort of disappointed, on the other hand you think, well, that's good. And especially if you get the scale, it's very, very nicely done. Got lots of parts down in here. Match pair with these. It's actually not too bad at all. Okay. And then down in here, we've got the wheel wells. This is the top of the wheel well, so we have got some big old ejector pins to take care of just down in here. As you see, these are all a little bit flashy. You're going to need a little bit of clean up with all the gear. Okay, and it looks like somebody's made sort of a half-hearted attempt to polish out for the ejector pins where the moulds were in here afterwards, or maybe, but yeah, not really done a good job of it. So yeah, it's close. It is close. I'll give it that. It's just, yeah, not quite there. And again, we've got the fuel tanks. The various things. I don't know if that is the bomb. That could be a bomb, free-fall nuclear bomb, maybe. Again, it's got nice recessed details right the way over it, all the bits and pieces, and the recce pod down in here has got all the camera ports, and again, it just needs a little bit of cleanup down in here, stuff like that, and away you go. Yeah, it's one of those where I'm really pulled on this one. I'm trying to forgive it because obviously it's 1/72 scale, so how much can you cram into 1/72 scale? But then you see some of the more modern companies, they can put a hell of a lot into it now, and their stuff, 72nd just looks like 48 before, we've spoken about it a lot. It's just on this one, there's just some sloppy stuff. We've got sink marks in it, we've got some quite poor tooling, the way that the actual moulds have been done, because they're obviously not cleanly sorted out and done, so you are going to have to go through. That said though, and putting all that to one side, it is a Mirage 4 in 72nd. You haven't got many options, and this looks to me to be the most detailed one yet, with all this beautiful surface detail. What I would probably do is, before I've gone anywhere near it, is sand the entire thing down lightly, and then just pop around and clean up all the rescribing, so it's clean, it's fresh, it's sharp again, things like that. Yes, it's a long job, yes, you shouldn't have to do it, but it's one of those things, you are stuck with what you've got here, and you're trying to play the cards you've been dealt. So from my point of view, that's where I would go. Same with the ejector pins and the sink marks at the same time. Take care of those, put it all together before you've even taken anything off the sprue, so to speak. Once you've got it, and then you've basically cleaned them up and you've got it all sharpened up for the rescribing, maybe add a little bit of re-riveting, things like that, just to bring it up to scale, and then you've got really quite a nice kit. Plenty of detail in there, plenty of stuff going on. The cockpit, let's face it, you're not going to see much in there anyway, so the clear parts, although they're sloppy and not brilliant, you're not going to see it. Hopefully you might be able to do it with the actual canopy open, so again, that will forgive a lot of stuff, things like that, but if it's shut up, you're not going to see much down in there. The decals themselves don't look half bad at all, and to be honest, there's a lot of detail in this one to draw your eye away from some of those problem areas and things like that. So in some ways, although it's by no means a perfect kit, I've seen a lot worse, and you can do a lot with it, and that's the main thing. And again, basic modelling skills, you haven't got a problem anyway. You're going to be taking care of those eject pins in moments, you're going to be sanding it down, a little bit of rescribing, tidying up, and you're good to go, and you're going to end up with probably something very, very nice at the end of the day. So there we go, that is A&A Models Mirage IV A in 1/72.